The Redmi Note 8 is being launched in 2 days' time. We know everything about this phone. Just in case you did need some clarification, Redmi actually said today that the Redmi Note 8 Pro is getting an LCD screen. One of the executives from Redmi has said he's been using the device and he himself thinks it's one of the best LCD screens that he's ever used. Of course he would say that. He is one of the bosses at Redmi. He's not going to say it's bad, of course. And we did know it was an LCD screen. The fingerprint sensor was on the back. That doesn't mean that it's at 100% was an LCD screen, but usually if you do have an OLED screen, you put the fingerprint sensor under the screen and not on the back. Anyway, absolute 100% confirmation today that Realme 8 Pro is getting an LCD screen. At this price point, especially where the Redmi Note 8 and the Redmi Note 8 Pro are going to come, OLED screens are extremely rare. And what about the prices of the Redmi Note 8 and the Redmi Note 8 Pro? This is a leak. We have to take it for what it is. It's a leak. Can't be 100% sure about it. But this seems to detail the prices of every single model of the Redmi Note 8 and the Redmi Note 8 Pro. The Redmi Note 8 non-Pro variant, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, starting at 1,199 RMB. That makes total sense. The Redmi Note 7 coming in at around about 999,000 RMB, there or thereabouts. This is a new version, an improved version, and so the price hike is coming as well. That makes a lot of sense. Again, it's just a leak, but that seems to be about where the price should be for that phone. Now, according to this, the Redmi Note 8 only has one version, 4 plus 64. It has different color options, but there are no differences in terms of the amount of RAM or the amount of storage you can get. So moving on to the Redmi Note 8 Pro, 6 gigabytes of RAM plus 128 gigabytes of storage, 1800 RMB. That is significantly more expensive than the Redmi Note 7 Pro, which this will be replacing. But if you compare the Redmi Note 7 Pro and the Redmi Note 8 Pro, actually the devices aren't that similar. The Redmi Note 8 Pro definitely is a jump up in terms of specs and performance over the Redmi Note 7 Pro. It has that 64 megapixel camera. It also has a quad camera where the Redmi Note 7 Pro didn't. Quite a powerful chipset and a bigger battery. The design has changed too. So I would expect that to be there or thereabouts correct as well. It is not a direct replacement for the Redmi Note 7 Pro. It's definitely a increased and a bettered version of that phone. And according to this, you can get an 8GB version too with 128GB of storage, 2,099 RMB. So let's have a look at this phone in terms of the specs and the pricing. If we just choose to believe this leak right now, the Redmi Note 8 Pro for me would be pretty decent for the price to performance ratio. There was a phone released by Xiaomi called the Xiaomi CC9 that was released in China that wasn't released outside in the rest of the world. Really liked that phone. The price to performance of that phone, the whole phone itself, being about 1700 RMB was really great. They haven't released that outside of China. And the nearest thing that I would say that gives you a really great bang for your buck, loads of features for a low price, is probably the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Amaze Fit, which do wearables and watches, released 2 new products today. You've got the Amaze Fit Smartwatch 3. This has got a 1.34 inch OLED screen, 512 megabytes of RAM, 4 gigabytes of storage on there. Now you get GPS, you get bio tracking, fitness tracking. It is waterproof and it can last up to 7 days worth of usage without charging it. Or if you put it in ultra power saving mode, you can apparently get up to 14 days worth. That will be priced at 1,299 RMB. Chinese price, it's going to change once it gets outside of China. But they also released a second smartwatch today that looks way more interesting to me. And well, have a look at the pictures. I don't have to tell you what watch this reminds me of. It's really, really similar. It's almost a carbon copy. But this thing is 899 RMB. It's called the Amaze Fit GTS. It's got a 1.65 inch screen, so that's even bigger. It's an AMOLED screen. It's got NFC. It's water resistant, has fitness trackers, and apparently you can get up to 14 days on one charge. It also has sleep monitors and heart rate monitors. And for me, this thing is essentially the Apple Watch for Android. Now, if you've never heard of Amaze Fit, they are actually surprisingly a really huge company. They have very direct ties with Xiaomi. The company is actually called Huami, and the Amaze Fit brand is the one that you see that makes watches. And moving on to the Realme 64 megapixel camera phone, the Realme XT. In China anyway, we got loads of official renders from this one today. We know the specs of this one. It will apparently come with an OLED screen, a Snapdragon 712 processor, an under-screen fingerprint sensor. So that differentiates it from the Redmi Note 8 Pro, which has an LCD screen, that fingerprint sensor on the back. But apart from that, they both use that 64 megapixel sensor. So with those two phones, it really is a choice between, do you want an OLED screen or an LCD screen? And the Snapdragon 712 and the G90T that is used in the Redmi Note 8 Pro, they're going to be slightly different in terms of performance, but day to day, you might not see much difference in performance between the two. We'll have to test that out when they become available in China, which is apparently after India at least. Anyway, I look forward to that. Subscribe if you want to see those tests. Anyway, that's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.